Next question. I was abused by my in-laws verbally. They have apologized as well, but I can't forget. Neither do I feel like talking to them. Am I doing anything correct? Because I believe Allah doesn't forgive the person who doesn't forgive others. Also, what if I just keep quiet about this? Will not discuss much with anything, and I won't talk to them much. Is that okay? So pretty much I'm guessing it's a
ولا
she
حول
just wants
ولا
to go
قوة
quiet her.
إلا. But no, I want to first ask a question. Where was your husband all this time? And what role did your husband play in this case? Yani the husband, your husband, he must defend you and he must protect you. Especially in the case here, if you're saying that you are innocent and you hadn't done anything to harm your in-laws, and they just began to abuse you and insult you verbally and so on, then where was your husband? He should have stood and defended you, and he should have confronted his parents, of course, in a politeful manner, and discussed the matter with them and put a stop to this. And if he had seen that it is best to keep both of you away, then he should have done this. It shouldn't have reached the point where you continuously were abused and the abuse carried on for many years. For this here, that's the first thing that I wanted to bring to attention. That is, where was the husband? For the husband is supposed to play a role in protecting his wife if his parents begin to abuse his wife while she is innocent, having had done nothing wrong. The other thing here I'll say is that Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ. Since you're saying now that they have apologized and they want to move forward, they're remorseful for what they had done, then I say to you that Allah Azza wa Jalla has said, وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ. Reconciliation is always better. Reconciliation is always better. You might have children. I don't know. You might have children here with your husband. And so these children, your in-laws are your children's grandparents. So there's always going to be that relationship. So it's best if you're able to reconcile, then go ahead and do that. Reconcile with them. As for forgiving them, then really that is up to you. There are, of course, many ayat and many ahadith that encourage a person to forgive those who deserve to be forgiven. And if they deserve your forgiveness, if you've seen sincerity from them, and they've apologized, and they've acknowledged their wrong, and they know what they have done is wrong, and they know it, and you can see it from them, then why wouldn't you forgive, right? Since they are deserving of your forgiveness, if you believe that they have shown enough remorse, then go ahead. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَمَا زَادَ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا بِعَفْوٍ إِلَّا عِزًّا. Some people believe that if they accept someone's apology and they forgive, then that means that's weakness. However, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when the servant of Allah forgives, Allah only increases him in honor and dignity. So if you felt like you're going to be weak in front of them, no. Before Allah, you are honored and you are dignified. So there is no issue. As we said, it's up to you. You may forgive, and then after that, you perhaps might feel that you want to limit your interaction and your involvement with them until you feel ready to begin a new chapter with them. It's all up to you. And the in-laws do not count as rahim. They are not the blood relatives that are supposed to be in where you're supposed to maintain ties with. In-laws don't have that relationship with a person. So I recommend that just like Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ. Reconcile if you're able to, forgive if you're able to, if they deserve the forgiveness and you've seen complete remorse and sincere apologies from their end. And now, may Allah Azza wa Jal reconcile the hearts. Now,
Sheikh, in many cases I've seen, and I know about 3 cases personally that I know that have had 3 divorces, and a lot of it happens when they get married new. The husband can't rent, or he doesn't want to rent. He wants to save to buy a house, whatever it is. So he marries this girl, moves into his house. Okay, or obviously there's a trend of the granny flat at the back, and they live, and then it causes tension between the wife and the mother-in-law. And you see a lot of the times the husband gets stuck in the middle. And just to follow up on what you said as well about once they do they reconcile, everything's fixed. There's always that tension afterwards. How would you get rid of that?
So firstly, you asked a few things that are important that perhaps we need to add to that, something else that is common, and that is sometimes a person puts his wife in his parents' house, and he ends up living in his parents' house for many years. And the wife in this case would like to know what's her right. Can her husband keep her in that house or not? We say here that the wife in Islam, from her rights, is a house that is for her, that has its separate entry and exit, has its own kitchen and bathroom and sleep room, separate from other people. Why? Because in Islam, a woman is supposed to adorn herself to her husband, and she always, she has to be adorning herself to her husband, beautify herself to her husband. And this cannot be achieved. It cannot be achieved all the time if she is inside the house of someone else, or she is with his parents and so on. It becomes very difficult for a woman now to express her beauty and her adornment for her husband because she's in a situation like this. At the same time, and I don't know, sometimes people can't afford rent, but just to save a few hundred a week, they decide to just remain in their parents' house. If a person is able to rent, then this is impermissible. It is impermissible to remain in your parents' house because you have taken a right of the woman that belongs to her. And as a husband, you're supposed to fulfill the rights, or as spouses, you're supposed to fulfill the rights of one another. In the case that you mentioned, where let's say there's a granny flat, the husband has to be wise, wallahi akhi. The husband has to be wise. If this is causing a lot of tension, perhaps it's better for him to move his whole family from there and move somewhere else. And better than this, that he mend the hearts, bring them together between his wife and his parents, right? A person, his parents, these are his parents. He has to give them that respect and that honor in his life. No one will ever replace your parents. Not a wife, not a child, no one. The parents are on top. And this is a lesson you're supposed to teach your children and your wife and your family from the very beginning. From the very, very beginning, you're supposed to teach this lesson. You go onto your family and you say to them, my parents, no one comes before them. They are the first in my life. Make that clear from the very, very beginning so that the wife is prepared what is to come afterwards. And most of course, the wife that contributes towards her husband's relationship with his parents, she's rewarded for it. If a wife makes it easy for her husband that he continue his relationship with his parents and makes it easy for him, she's rewarded for this. She earns reward. And similarly, the husband that makes it easy for his wife, for her to maintain ties with her family and her parents, he earns reward, even if it's difficult and troubling upon him, whatever it is. There is reward in this. Now, and both spouses are supposed to make it easy for each other to visit each other's parents and to look after each other's parents. This is from the greatest reasons of divorce today, is the respect that the spouses don't have for each other's in-laws. This is on the rise. This is from the greatest reasons that I have seen concerning divorce. The spouses and them not getting along with each other's in-laws. In order to avoid this from the very beginning, you need to instill this lesson and come into common terms with this. For a wife, she has parents. You need to acknowledge, as a husband, you need to know this. This is her father and mother. They raised her for many years. They looked after her for many years. And now they are giving her to you as a wife. That doesn't mean they've cut their relationship with her. This is still their daughter. So now you need to understand this, and you need to respect this fact, and you need to be a help and an aid and a support for your wife to maintain ties with her family and get her parents gifts and visit them every often and call them and see if they need anything. In return, your wife would begin to love you more and more. So you gain more of her love, more of her loyalty, more of her appreciation. And this works in the opposite manner as well. For a wife to learn that her husband has been raised in his parents' house for many, many years. And they're too going to be affected that their son now is leaving the house. Finally, that's it. He won't return to the house as a child anymore. He goes, he's with his wife now. So you need to understand that don't make it difficult for him to cut ties with his family. Don't make it difficult for him to do that. Rather aid him and support him in looking after his parents and visiting them. Ask him, did you see your father today? Did you call your mother today? Do this, keep pushing, and go and gift his family, gift your in-laws, go and gift his family, look after them, ask about them if they need anything. All of this, it's not an obligation, but this is goodness. It is goodness. And in return, the husband begins to appreciate you more, love you more. There is more support, there is more loyalty, and there's goodness in this marriage. That's the only way you're going to destroy this problem that is found in many marriages. Otherwise, if there's this kind of distant and there are these issues, it only gets worse. The children see it, it affects them, and everyone's traumatized. Then Allahu Alam, what happens after that? Naam, Allahu Alam.